It is September the 20th, 2024. It's Friday. My name is Jacob Payne, and boy, do I have some news for you regarding this guy, Mark Robinson, if you're seeing the video, this picture in the teaser, and 7 other stories in the queue for things you might have heard for today. These are stories that were pretty popular, pretty hot, pretty big yesterday that we're giving you to this in a morning newscast to get your day started, to give you some conversational stuff. Yes, we know people listen to it all day long, but if you didn't know about Mark Robinson now, you will know about him very soon. And we have to give you a warning right now. Trigger warnings, explicit rating warnings, all the warnings up front, because we're hitting him first, and you're hitting him, pun intended, pretty hard. But to get your stories that you want to talk about, and yeah, you guys want to talk about Mark Robinson, it's simple. We'll explain that after we go through the headlines. It's a vetting process that you help deem us with conversational stories that are worth talking about. We'll talk about that in a bit, but remind you that our website for all the things you need to know about us when we're not blasting politicians who are blasting themselves is at our website. This is theconversationproject.com, and you can email us with all your comments, concerns, and your gripes and complaints, and I know there will be plenty today at the email address, theconversationinbox@gmail.com. Good news about Shohei Ohtani, and not so great news about Connie Chung, or actually bad news about Dan Rather, but that's in the queue as well. As we said, today happens to be Friday, the 20th of September. These stories are in no particular order, but we'll give you some context on how they got to be where they are as we go through the stories today. And today, Mark Robinson. Now, let me give you a bit. This one's going to go a little long, so let me apologize for that one. Mark Robinson is known to us and has been known to us in various circles, and as a person, wave my hand from my face, a black person who follows a lot of black commentators, him being a black man running for governor of North Carolina and saying things like slavery wasn't so bad and, you know, women shouldn't vote, seemed to want to have people turned off. But he's a Republican. He's saying things a lot of Republicans want to hear, maybe not those things in particular, and he has the backing of one Donald J. Trump. He also, we found out recently, enjoyed porn a lot in the past, and apparently going forward. But in the past, we've got some more revelations, because when you're winning stuff, they start to dig up more dirt on you. And when you put plenty of dirt out there for them, bags and bags of potting soil for them to get to, it's not that hard. CNN confronted Mark Robinson with a bunch of things from his profiles, using his email address, his name, his picture, profiles that look a lot like him on sites that some he admitted to frequenting, some he said were not true, where he said a lot of really, really bad things. You can guess what's going on, because they're already hit pornography at least 3 or 4 times before we even got to out of the teaser for the actual headline to get into this show today. Mark Robinson, not a great dude. In these past things, going back as far past as 2010 or so, the early days of internet and messaging and whatnot, using profiles and email addresses that he uses, personal email addresses, saying things like he is a black Nazi, and Martin Luther King Jr. was terrible, and just random things, and including a lot of misogyny and just general porny stuff. He's also bearing the lead here. He's also was listed on Ashley Madison, which one headline like, oh, Ashley Madison, that's interesting. And then I saw the other ones like, wow, you guys missed the point on that one whatsoever. Mark Robinson, not a very good guy. And the big issue is not so much he's not a good guy, is that people in North Carolina actually want him to drop out of the race. But the last day to do that was yesterday. You now have no choice but to have a vote for Mark Robinson as governor in North Carolina. The irony of it all is, by the time people got to figuring out he was bad enough to get rid of, it was too late to get rid of him. If you're not a follower of folks in black commentary on Facebook, on X, on YouTube, you missed out a bevy of things. If you're not a follower of people who were like bashing Republicans, a lot of white guys got in on this action yesterday as well. Don Lemon did a special edition of it. I follow a guy named Reese Waters, who actually works on something called the Races of the Week, and he was wrapping that up. And then Mark Robinson did this thing, so he had to put out 2 videos yesterday. Didn't have to, but he just sort of made do to put out 2 videos on things of this bent. This is not a black thing here for things you might have heard. So we do step into those rooms because it's me personally. But sometimes some people are just so terrible that you got to go along on them and introduce them to some folks. So if you didn't know who Kamala Harris was and wasn't sure why she wasn't black until she was, and you didn't know who this guy is, Mark Robinson, and not sure why, him being black and how we got to be a part of this stuff, essentially running on gun rights and schools' choices to ban books and moving from there. Now you ought to know. Do your own research, and you're going to find things you don't want to see. And with that, let's go to another guy that we have love-hate relationships with on their technology work and their philanthropy, if you will. It is Elon Musk. This is an interesting take on this one because someone did shoot this back at me and had to sit back and sort of push back my disdain for Mr. Musk himself and say, well, there might be a point here. The headline for story number 2, Elon Musk's X and Starlink face nearly $1 million in daily fines for alleged ban evasion in Brazil. A few weeks back, maybe a couple months back, might have been that long, Brazil banned X, formerly Twitter, literally causing people to no longer be able to use the app. And for about a day, people were just sort of staring into space, looking at the phones, not knowing what to do. And then X, or specifically I'm Freudian slip, Musk opened X back up to the folks in Brazil by opening up Starlink and making it available via the web, via the satellite web system, not the normal web system that you have there. So if you sign on to Starlink, you have access to X on Brazil. About $1 million in fines daily for breaking the court order. The top court said X should not be on the platforms. And Musk is like, freedom of speech, give it to the people. And he gave it to the people, and he's paying for it, literally. X and Starlink are reportedly continuing operations in the country despite the ban and are going to keep doing what's going on and the hefty penalties, if you will. Now, here's where I get a little crossways. I put this story basically just like this. More or less, X is going to be banned from Brazil, but Starlink's going to provide it to Brazilians. Not a lot of extra commentaries, maybe a little jab at Musk here, there going forward. And someone on I think his YouTube in a comment said, this is free speech. This guy's allowing people in Brazil to have access to the Twitter platform, the X platform, which may be a dumpster fire. I think that's what I said. X was a dumpster fire, but it gives people the access to whatever they can get to. The issue is Elon Musk is not the Robin Hood you may think he is. And everyone has ulterior motives. Everybody wants ego stroked or wants some sort of power play or money from this, but he is not necessarily the good guy. He might be an anti-hero, but he's not Captain America. He might be Deadpool. He's probably not Wolverine. Definitely not Iron Man. And the reason why I throw this out there is this is the guy that wanted to shut off Ukraine for using Starlink in the war against Russia because he has interest in Russia and he wants to play fair on that end when Ukraine has less resources than Russia does. But here, he's spending all the money he can to promote free speech because Brazilians use his platform, and that also means revenue for him. The Ukrainian war is not Ukraine, buying, hitting pop-up ads and buying stuff from them while flying their drones to blow up Russians. That's not what's happening. In Brazil, when you're going through X, you might hit an ad. You might make some money. So you might make a little money off this or not lose as much as you think. Elon Musk is a smart guy. He has ulterior motives. He's not the hero that you think he is, but he may be the hero that we deserve. Oh, we're going long today. Let's go to this story. This is a good story. We have to have a couple of good stories because we have a lot of people who don't have great stories on this Friday edition of the show. Wisconsin 12-year-old saves his dad's life during bear attack. In an heroic act, 12-year-old Owen Bierman saved his father, Ryan Bierman, from a black bear attack in Burnett County, Wisconsin. The incident occurred on September the 6th of 2024 while two were hunting. The bear charged and knocked Ryan to the ground, and in a critical moment, Owen acted quickly, using a rifle to shoot and kill the bear, saving his father from further harm. Ryan, who was severely injured, credited his son for saving his life, calling him a hero. Owen's calm response in such a dangerous situation has garnered widespread admiration. So we are glad for Ryan and Owen specifically, for saving his dad. This is not the cause to bring in any other gun-related issue, gun-related story, whatever. This is two men, two folks, a family out there hunting, and a serious incident happening, and a young man who apparently is a good shot and knows how to handle his firearms saved his father's life. Moving on from there. But moving on to a pretty awesome one. Let's talk about the best man in baseball right now. Right now, we're going to run away with basically being the MVP. This guy has to be. If he's not, this election is definitely rigged. Shohei Ohtani has become the first major league player ever. He built his club. He built the club, the 50-50 club, 50 homers, 50 stolen bases. The first player to actually hit this in a season ever. We don't know why it took Japan to get a player like this so long, or why it took so long for this man to be born and thrust upon us to have these honors. But gosh darn it, Shohei Ohtani, despite the fact his interpreter was a jerk, is an amazing baseball player. History made with 50 home runs and 50 steals. He achieved it last night in a game where he hit 3 home runs and got 2 stolen bases in one game. He went in last night with homers 48 and steals 49 and came out 50 and 51 on the showcase, basically putting on a clinic what's going on. Home runs in the 6th, 7th, and the 9th to basically shut off the fireworks that they needed. Dodgers in first place in their division. Dodgers are an amazing team. Dodgers will probably win this thing, and if Ohtani does not get MVP, this election is rigged. Oh, by the way, you can help us rig our votes and rig our responses by telling people that we're pretty awesome. That's actually allowed. Like the videos, like the audios, like our work out there. And the more people see the little thumbs up or the heart faces, wherever they are, if you're watching this on Facebook, on X, watching this on YouTube, this particular story here, this probably show here, more people that see it, the more people think it's good. Unfortunately, it really is about social proof. I get a lot of comments about my lack of numbers. Subscribers, things like that. How a story I put out a few days ago that picks up traction, all of a sudden is there, and people are like, this story is 8 days old and there's only got so many comments. You're a loser, which is fine because I'm willing to put up with that one. But help me look like less of a loser, if you will, and take the 10 seconds to read it, check it out, and click the like button where it is. The more people that actually give some social proof on things, the better it is for algorithms to show myself out there, and less chance of me asking for money, which I will ask for at the end of the show. Share this thing or other things with other folks, because that's also social proof. You send something to someone and they'll probably watch it. They will enjoy it, or they may hate it based on why you want to send it to them, and they may respond as well. A mean scrunchy face is just as well as a like in some cases, because it shows somebody was engaging in it. And if you're not a subscriber to our feed, subscriber to our work, wherever it are or wherever it is best for you, maybe you're seeing this on X because you scrolled through it on just on a whim, and you're actually a Facebook guy. Look for us on Facebook, subscribe there so you don't miss out on these droppings that we give you every single day. That was unintended, but you get the fact there. Like, share, and subscribe to help grow the family with the Conversation Project. Not so much liked. Definitely didn't share a lot of thought processes, but you can subscribe to how you want to on either guy. Actually, the pun intended. A lot of people are subscribing to Dan Rather as a pillar of our global community, as he's telling the truth and poking the bears and, saying what it is in his folksy sort of voice. One person not happy with his folksy sort of voice and wasn't happy for quite some time is Connie Chung, who has a new book out, and she is slamming her former co-anchor at Dan Rather, that guy, for bias regarding women. This is coming out in a new memoir. Now, Connie Chung is doing the rounds, so a lot of things are happening in stories that we've seen that we didn't put out there, that have been out there chatting up. There's a lot of Chinese, a lot of Asian women named Connie because of Connie Chung. Obviously not an Asian name, but hey, it stuck for someone like that. She's iconic. She's opened doors. She's tapped at ceilings to try to make them work. And she and Dan Rather did something amazing, a billion odd years ago, and had the co-anchor desk for CBS for a while, making something that was supposed to be something big, because Dan Rather, big dude at the time, and Connie Chung, big gal at the time in the world of news, making this a blockbuster bid for people to watch back then when watching the nightly news was simply something good. And it didn't work. We heard all the rumors, innuendo, which turned out to be pretty much true, about Rather and Chung not getting along with each other, and Rather being rather rude to Miss Chung. But in her new book, Connie Chung talks about the toxic work environment for all women in general, not just her specifically. The memoir sheds lights on challenges she faces as a woman in the male-dominated field, of course, and how things were how she was picked on in places, and how things have been resolved for the better, in some cases, not so much better in the current state of our union that is journalism. That's why I do this thing here, because I'm not exactly thrilled with how journalism is, even though I'm not paid to be a corporate journalist, independent, doing aggregation now, yes, and it's fun and it makes pennies, but I don't have the reach that other folks have. And sorry. I want to use that for a recap too, and I have to try to hold back that cough. But this is a big deal. Dan Rather, who I admire, I like a lot. I follow his Substack, and I listen to what he says as common sense, folksy stuff. But at the same time, two things can be true at once. Dan Rather can also be not a nice guy and have everything right going forward. Mark Robinson can be a terrible person and a good legislator. He's not a good legislator, so that's why being a terrible person really makes a difference. Thank you, Connie Chung. Thank you, Dan Rather. Thank you, folks, for being newsers, if you will. Here's one that is on the slate of, we got next two stories are singers being sued by other singers. And this one is one that I'm not sure why it took this long to figure it out. Miley Cyrus being sued for copyright infringement over the hit single Flowers, because it sounds like Bruno Mars' I Could Be Your Man, When I Was Your Man. It sounds exactly like the song, except it's faster tempo in the background, but the actual beat is essentially the thing. Tempo Music Investments holds the copyright for that song, and they are suing, technically not Bruno, but they're suing Cyrus for the song that sounds very similar to the other song. This is filed in Los Angeles because music is there. And the suit says that Flowers closely mirrors When I Was Your Man in melody, lyrics, and composition. Tempo is seeking unspecified damages, requesting that Cyrus be banned from distributing or performing the song until the matter is resolved. If you're going to a Miley Cyrus concert tomorrow, they don't want her singing Flowers. They don't want her dancing. They don't want her loving herself like no man can. I can say that because I'm not being sued by Tempo Music, and it's news, but she can't. This could have major implications on both Cyrus' career and the music industry if more actual music companies, and these are mostly publishing companies that own rights, not so much the musicians themselves, although this does fall in line with all the people who are suing Donald Trump for playing their music at the rallies. It's kind of in that same sort of vein. But this is a case that may ripple to other folks if they can figure out how to sue other people for songs that sound a lot like other songs. Public domain songs like Happy Birthday, things like that, you're not going to get any flack from things like that. But songs that sound really similar, the other ones, like the whole biting it in stuff from sampling back in the day. Sampling was an issue in rap music. This may be a big issue again as well. We are going really long today. Sorry, folks. Another artist being sued by other artists, his own boys. Nelly is being sued by his own group, the St. Lunatics, because the rappers say they were manipulated. Being sued by his group, the St. Lunatics, the former group that, as it was, or members of that group, over uncredited work and unpaid royalties related to his debut album, Country Grammar. The group claims that Nelly manipulated them into believing they would be compensated for their contributions to that album, launching his career back in 2000. The lawsuit alleges that the St. Lunatics played a key role in the album's success, but were not properly credited or compensated. Filed in a Manhattan federal court, because music lives in Manhattan as well, the lawsuit seeks financial damages and recognition for their contributions. This lawsuit follows the previous tensions between the St. Lunatics and Nelly, the St. Lunatics member, specifically Ali, who made similar claims back in 2021 that he didn't get paid. Now they're all saying they ain't getting paid, so now they want to get paid. And a guy who found a way to get paid and is saying, you know what, leaving school is not so bad, is Sam Altman. But there's a caveat here. When you read the headline, it is a bit kind of a head scratcher. Like, we're kind of, college may not be what it's worth back in the day, but we're kind of telling kids not to just drop out, because Sam Altman tells high schoolers dropping out of college wasn't a big deal. That is the headline from Fortune.com, which would get people to click the clickbait. Read the story. As per our robot editor, the synopsis from him, I guess. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman recently shared with high school students that dropping out of Stanford University at 19 to pursue his startup Looped wasn't as risky as it might seem. Altman explained that he always felt he could return to school if the startup failed, making the decision reversible. He encourages students to assess risk by recognizing certain decisions, like dropping out, can often be undone, thus reducing the overall impact of choice. Altman's experience ultimately led to him in success in tech industry and culminating in the leadership of OpenAI, a tool that we actually use to produce this show and produce this article, if you will. So that's great. There's just one extra caveat I need to throw in there. You assess risk and figure out if things can be undone, things to be worked out. See if you can take that chance. It's never better to love and loss than never to love at all. But the issue is Sam Altman is an outlier, and he is suffering from survivor's bias. He can say this because it worked for him. So he can say, I dropped out of college to pursue a thing, and it worked out for me, but I probably could have went back. He's not a story where someone had to go back to college and come back, end up being a accountant or bookkeeper or something like that because the big bet on Looped did not work. So yes, take chances. Take all the chances you can that are reasonable, that make sense, that you can actually maybe reverse and go with something. And always have some sort of parachute or a safety net that you work with. But remember, all investments don't pan out. All risks don't give great rewards. And if they blow up in your face, you have to deal with the consequences, whether you can make it reversible or not. Let's move on to our teaser story. This section is where we talk about the teases, stories that are in our feeds that you can engage in, which is how we get the stories we talk about here on the show and other iterations as well. Today is Friday, so we have until Monday to be our next iteration. So this story here has to survive the full weekend, where we're going to produce from the top third of stories or so, about 30 stories out of 90 stories we'll post this weekend. This story has to be in there as one of those top stories to be considered for one of the 10 stories we give you in the headlines for Monday. Only 10 stories, 90 stories to choose from, a whole lot to work through. This is one that might actually make the grade. Judge denies effort to halt State Fair of Texas's gun ban. Now, when I read this, I interpreted it as the State Fair of Texas has a gun ban. People want to unban it. A judge is saying, no, the ban is there. That's how I read it. Read the story, read the article, read deeper details, do your own research to understand how this thing is working out. Because it looks like guns can't be carried at the state fair, and a judge is not going to let people drop that ban from the state fair. Yesterday, we had a teaser story about students not reading as many books in English class. That didn't make the grade, but you can make the grade with this one. This one has a longer road to hoe because it's got to go 3 full days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, to make it to the Monday show. You want to make it there? Go to our feeds, facebook.com/This Is a Conversation Project, x.com/th_conversation, and threads.net/@This Is a Conversation. What we do is every 50 minutes or so, we post a news article there from various sources, various places, various bents, and various persuasions. If you like it, if you love it, if you hate it, if you despise it, engage in it. Yes, if you hate it, engage in it, because that means people are likely going to talk about it, even if it's for the hate that it brings to all of us. Engage in the story. The higher engagement story gets, the better chance of talking about it. The 8 stories we presented today were from the top half of stories that were presented yesterday all day long in our feeds. We took those top halves. We went through the ones that were there. We actually swapped out one for another. We swapped in the Shohei Ohtani story for another story at the last minute because it just seemed to make more sense with sort of what we're seeing in the early morning news cycle, something that was a bit more. And we needed something more happy. The other story wasn't very happy. But that's how we get the stories there. You tell us what stories are worth talking about. We pick the ones we think will work. And then you can respond to me via email or comments whether we got the right ones or not. So let me know if I picked the right 8 stories a day or if I should have picked a different story that you saw in the feeds that did not quite make the cut. Let's talk about Flowers Fast very quickly because we are going very long, not very fast today. And Flowers Fast will do what they do fast. It's pretty simple. You need flowers, they send flowers fast. Flowers Fast is a website and a service that is connected to FTD. So if you send an order in early in the morning, chances are it'll get electronically emitted to your local florist or their local florist if you're far away, and they can put a bouquet together pretty quickly for your needs. An 8 a.m. order can be delivered by noon in some cases, and definitely by 5 o'clock. So if you have found out you've forgotten something something big, something massive. There must be some sort of show to show that you didn't actually forget that. Flowers or can't or teddy bears or other sundry FTDs sort of gift baskets, cheese, meat, whatever they have there, whatever your loved one would actually desire, you can get it to them and make it seem like you did not forget, because the card won't say this order came in 10 minutes ago. It just says, here's your card. They love you. Here's the flowers. They love you. This is not some overnight delivery thing that throws it into FedEx. This is real flowers from real florists that will take it delivered to them and give them the special love and attention they deserve. So keep this one in your back pocket, because you never know when you'll need flowers fast. This is theconversationproject.com/flowersfast. This is theconversationproject.com/flowersfast. This is an affiliate link, so if you purchase from Flowers Fast, we get a commission cut from what you get. Costs you nothing extra. We're just getting a little bit of change for open the door to Flowers Fast for you. It's not about flowers. It's not really about fast. It's about the Conversation Project. And we're going to get to, in a moment, we're going to hype up our partners in a bit. On Fridays and Saturday, we hype up the people who directly fund things going on. But as I said earlier in the like, share, and subscribe part, the more people that are engaged in what we have going on, the more social proof we have what's going on, the less I have to, do the pledge drive for money stuff, which we will do in a moment. So like, share, and subscribe so more people are engaged in the conversation. Visit our website. This is theconversationproject.com to see why we're worthy of all these things. We also have more sponsors there, so you can check those links there for affiliate sponsors as well, and get past episodes, past workings, past writings, and see how things are going, and learn about the Conversation Project. The most important things you can actually do don't cost you anything, but like I said, the more you share with other folks, the more engagement we get going forward. You can email us with anything you have thought-wise at theconversationinbox@gmail.com. You follow us on our feeds, Facebook, Threads, and X, so we know what stories to chat up in our next iterations. Next time we'll do this thing in this form will be Monday, although Saturday we do the weekly roundup, 12 stories from the week that caught my attention that we presented here going forward. You can also, and this is really, 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 really good, also just look at where we are, see where we are, understand the places that we are, and find a place that's going to be engaging to you. Because the Conversation Project is really about conversational topics, conversational news with things that are worth talking about. And without you being engaged, nothing's really worth talking about. So there it is. We're doing a lot of mea culpa and a lot of sort of soul searching today, because we had a lot of those deep type of stories. And I apologize if I'm a bit rambly, only on the third cup of coffee today, so that might have something to do with it. But check out the website, check out what we're doing, engage with me, and engage with the stories so we know what to talk about going forward. That is the end of the show for Friday, September 20th, 2024. But on Fridays, we take extra time at the end of this show to hype up our partners. Partners are found using, go into the partnership page at our website, and they use on a service. We use buymeacoffee.com to do our partnerships, so we can say coffee stuff, because conversational and coffee things are there. There's stuff on my desk. If you become a partner, if you become a $5 cup of coffee partner, we got stuff. We got hot sauce, conversational hot sauce. Higher gift levels, we got coffee, we got buttons. So we got stuff for you to join us. It's like pledge drive. You give $50 to PBS, they give you a $5 mug. It is what it is. Much love to Harold Braxton, Colby Green, and Elton Kidd, and Joy Winters. Joy Winters on the Spare Change $1 a month episodes, and cup of coffee versions for the other 3. What do you get from being a partner? You get the joy and love of knowing you've actually delivered stuff to here. You helped us do stuff here. And we do extra insider information. There's an extra video that kind of goes how the week went, how things are going, good, bad, or indifferent. So a few weeks back, I published a very poorly done one for the world to see how it works out. It was really bad. But normally they're a bit more informative, a bit more lively, and there is discussion, as these guys have a direct pipeline for chatting back and forth, and I usually ask them questions when I'm going to change something and get their input. So get a person who can be a person to offer input for $1 a month. It's that simple. Go to the Conversation Project's partnerships page, find the best way for you to indulge in helping us out. Either one-time donation links are there, and of course, Buy Me a Coffee platform for subscription donations there as well. That's it. We're done. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. Enjoy yourself. Prepare yourself for the weekly roundup. Got to remember, I changed the name of that. We got 12 stories in the past week that just sort of caught my attention of the stories you posted inside of the work. And I'm pretty sure Sean Combs, Mark Robinson, and Donald Trump are making the cut. I just have this feeling they're making the cut. We will see what else. Maybe Oprah and Kamala Harris, maybe, but I'm pretty sure Mark Robinson is in it for this week. Hopefully you're in it for this week as well. Look for this in the same feed level that you're getting this, unless you're an audio listener. Then you have to look for it for a separate feed for the podcast there as well. Love you so much. Mean it in profusely. Have a great weekend. We'll see you again in this iteration come Monday.